and even 1,400% because the rest of the world pays much less for the identical drug. And we're going to be paying the same thing. We're going to have a favored nation. We will pay as low as the lowest nation in the world.
That was President Trump on Sunday touting his latest push to lower prescription drug prices. In letters to 17 pharmaceutical manufacturers last week, the president gave the companies 60 days to bring down costs and demanded that they give Americans what is known as the most favored nation pricing. That's the lowest price offered in other developed countries like Canada and the UK. The White House threatened to use, quote, every tool in our arsenal if the drug companies refuse, which could include yanking their drug approvals. The president this week also threatened tariffs of up to 250% on drugs imported into the U.S. from other countries. We're back with Kim Strassel, Jason Riley, and Alicia Finley. So, Kim, this is really a striking proposal. Why do these countries, first of all, pay less than Americans do for drugs?
Yeah, this is actually a really disappointing proposal, Paul. Let's put it that way. There's a reason that Canada and Europe don't pay as much, and that's because they do put drug price controls on this, and they tell manufacturers we won't pay anything more than this amount. You'll have to meet our price. If that just sounds magic and wonderful, Paul, the result has been that you do not have major innovation and major drug companies anymore in these places because they can't afford to do the R&D that allows them to innovate, and they aren't able to actually profit from some of their innovations and advances because of these drug price controls. America has become the center of that innovation. We are remarkable. We're making incredible advances in so many areas, and essentially Donald Trump is advocating that we put the same system in place that has really undermined drug innovation everywhere else.
Yeah, basically, Jason, he's saying we're going to import French or Canadian, UK price controls here. I mean, those aren't stellar examples of sound policy.
No, this is a recipe for less, less investment in new cures, and I don't know why we'd want to go that route. And it's true that these drug manufacturers initially get the patent protection that allows them to recoup all the R&D they've done to develop
for a limited period of time.
But it's only for a limited period of time, and most of the prescribed drugs in this country are generics. Something like 90% of them are generics, and Americans pay less for those generics than people in other countries pay. And so what this tells me is that market competition, particularly when the drug gets to that generic phase, drives down prices more than price controls would ever do, without driving away innovators, without, these drugs don't need to be developed in America. And that's the other problem with this approach that Trump wants to take. These companies could move their operations somewhere else. China would take them. Other places would take them where they could recoup their R&D in a way that he doesn't want them to be able to do so here. And that would be bad for this country.
Yeah, Alicia, you follow this issue very closely. The Americans don't pay as much for drugs as the politicians claim, right? I mean, Medicare gets discounts on drugs. The Democrats impose price controls on certain drugs as part of the Inflation Reduction Act, and then you have the generics. So is this less of a problem than Trump thinks it is?
I think you're exactly right. Now, about 90% of prescriptions in the U.S. are generics, and they cost about a third less than they do in the rest of the world. Now, it's also true that there are federal laws that require pharmaceutical companies to provide discounts to Medicaid as well as hospitals. There's this 340B program that requires hospitals essentially to get a 2/3 or even more discount off the retail price of these drugs. Now, then they actually sell them or provide them to patients at a tremendous markup. Now, if President Trump really wanted to lower drug prices, he would actually tackle these issues, this 340B program or the Medicaid rebates that require the pharmaceutical companies to increase their prices on everyone else.
And Kim, the president could have taken up this issue of drug pricing in other countries as part of trade negotiations. He's certainly taken up everything else as part of trade negotiations. Why did he leave drug pricing off the table?
I have no idea, Paul. And it ought to have been, look, by the way, if you really wanted to get some headlines and say you made major progress in your trade deals, put that at the top of your agenda. I mean, if you're trying to get some kudos from your voters on doing something about drug prices, this is the way to do it without destroying an American market that is saving lives in so many areas. And this is why I just don't get that the president knows better here. He understands markets, and this is what's disappointing about it, is it's being done entirely to curry some political favor, and it goes against all common sense and market principles.
Briefly, Jason?
Is also not sure whether he has the legal authority to
Right.
do this. He could be sued, the due process issues, property right issues. So this isn't a done deal.
Yeah, okay. He's trying to get political credit in the meantime. All right, when we come back, a turning point.
With those